So good evening guys, and welcome to another Sunday night instalment of P0. Tonight the guys head to the streets of Monaco, so a tough challenge awaits all of our drivers this evening. A little run over of what happened last week at Spain. Of course, Scarma taking that maiden victory of the season, starting from 4th in the grid. And it's the second time he has won in P0. So Scarma will be looking to try and replicate the fine form. And let's see if we can get a little look at what that did for the championship. Should be somewhere. There we go. Updated points table. So driver standings. So Matoman leads the way in the championship in 109 points. Rob Wills hot in his heels on P2 with 100 points, not far behind. Then it's a 25 point gap to Michelando. He sits third in the championship on 75 points. Then who's next? It's Matty in P4 on 73. Shiv in P5 on 65. Skarma P6 on 60. Mick P7 on 43. Built on Matt P9 on 39. Pedro in there as a reserve, top 10 in the championship on 39 points. Of course, back in the car again tonight. He's had a great debut and he's not even in a full-time seat yet, getting himself inside the top 10 in the championship. Dixie, a bit of a flat start to the season, not where he should be. He's on 27 points in P11. Then we have Laverick P12. Yerry 13, Rodders 14, Alban Evans P15, Brown Dog 16, Keith 17, Speechy 18, Metcalf 19, Dales Hunter P20 and Jock in P21. In regards to the Constructors' Championship, we have the Ferrari boys now leading the way. So Dixie and Rob Wills leading the drivers, the team's championship at the moment by just 2 points. 127 for Ferrari against Matt and Arwin and Alfa Romeo on 125, so that is very, very close indeed. Then we have the Alpha Tauri boys of Mika and Built on Matt on 114 points as we look to the screen to find ourselves in a very damp Monaco. I think I say damp, that definitely looks like intermediate compound in there. We'll get some clarification of that one. And we'll get onto the stream now and see what's what and who's saying what things. Oh, let me turn that down, we do not want to hear myself. Don't tell Chris the weather. Yes, do not tell me the weather for the race, I do not want to know. Just keep it to me, it's more exciting, it's better for me to not know what's happening, but we do have a damp qualifying. Good evening Mick, Rob, Jock and Skarma. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So I think we'll see our drivers fuel up. I think we'll see most people do at least 2 back-to-back runs here. In the wet weather conditions, I expect the guys to be somewhere in the 13s. Maybe a little bit off as if he Dales Hunter nearly ended up in the water as he came out turn 1. So who's our lead driver? I think it's Built on Matt. It's not, it's our other Alpha Tauri boy. So it's Mika Lando leading the way in the queue through the bridge. Let me do a bit of audio balancing. I'll go blue for just a little bit, guys. So I am back. Chat, excuse the blue screen there. We'll get back on board with Mika Lando as he gets ready to open a lap. So the last corner he comes. Stay on board. No DRS of course, because it's a bit wet. So into turn 1, braking a lot earlier than normal. All over the curb on the inside, then squeeze on that pivot. Up the hill we go. It's to turns 2, 3 and 4. Missing his first apex by a little bit, which focus in Monaco really, especially in the west. Just keep out of the wall. Jock doing well there to keep his car well to the inside and out the way. and slow and steady for Chris in his first lap. Let me see, there's a big cackle of cars all behind. It's a big old train here for the start. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 drivers all in the same sector of track setting hot laps at the moment. We have a few still in the pits. So Mika down into the first tricky chicane. You can definitely use a lot more of that inside curb. You don't really want to be clattering that sausage curb in the middle of your car on the inside of the apex. You will get away with that track limit. Nice and steady, it's a 102.3 so far in the middle sector. And he's just finding his apexes at the moment. I think Mika's just finding his feet. He's not looking to take too many risks straight away. Just get a lap time on the board. And I say 13, that was way off the mark. 23s is where I thought I meant to say. And it's a 23.7 for Shiv. We may see somebody come down into the 22s and a 23.9 for Skarma as well. How is Chubby Slug getting on though? He could set a big benchmark here. He knows he likes the soft compound tyre. I think he's just got on his energy deployment and he goes to a 22.9. I don't think the Mato Man was using any energy there. Dixie slots in a 24.4. See Metcalf's getting on. He's coming through swimming pool section of the circuit at the moment. And there's been a bit of a moment there. Shiv and Mika Lando had a bit of a collision. 5 place grid penalty for Shiv for a severe collision with Mika Lando. I don't know what will happen with that one there, but Shiv at best now will start P7. Metcalf came into the pits. Oh, and Jock's nearly put the car on the wall. Let's go to Rob Wills' house. He getting on. Rob Wills coming to the line. Can Rob Wills compete? He goes to P2. It's a 23.5 for Rob. But Matt, again, over a half-second gap in the damp conditions. So Jock does slot into P8, it's a 29.0. Keith invalidated his run. And Mataman actually improved again down to 22.5 on his second run, so Mataman found a little bit more time. Not as much time as you maybe predict, not using any energy, so that's interesting. Leon Evans leaves the session. He's not come out in a lap at the moment, so I'm not going to have any AI cars causing difficulty for anybody. I'm surprised our man SPW is not in the chat just yet. Let's see Speechy, where is he? Just coming down to the airpin, 22.2 sector 1. Speechy looking nice and tidy here actually. On the understeer, you see the front end just not getting the grip. Speechy's going to miss his apex there. He gets away with it, not picking up an invalidation, so he will be able to complete the lap. The question is, how fast is it going to be? Oh, he double takes at the last corner there as well. Out at the last corner he comes. Foot hard to the floor now. To the line, it's a 26.9 for Speechy. He goes into P8 at the moment. Where is Keith? He's just coming up the hill. How's Pedro getting on? He's coming down the hill. We have built on Matt ahead, and Rob Wills now a 22.0 on his third lap on that intermediate tyre, so Rob definitely starting to work his way through the conditions and find the grip on offer to start really finding a lap time. And I said, well, we see him into the 22s. The question will now be how low in the 21s will they get by the end of the session. Built on Matt, he had that great first race, and then it's maybe fell away a bit. It's going to be a 23.9 for Bilton. He gets into P5. How is Dixie getting on? He's got a bit of traffic ahead. And that's going to cost him his lap time there. We'll stay with Dixie, but I don't know if the traffic would have cost him there. So let's see, is Dixie up in this sector split? He is, but only a little bit. So Dixie has a lot of time in the pocket. If you look at the traffic he encountered in the middle of the lap, that's going to cost him a lot of time. He's got Michelando just up ahead. He's not done well here at picking when to get out on the track. Michelando cost him, maybe not too much time. Out the last corner he comes. Has he found any more? He will improve. Will he find himself any positions? He goes to P4. It's a 23.4, half a second in the end. And add him onto that second row of the grid, and I think he has a lot more lap time in the car, but I think he needs to just go into the pits and find himself some better track position now, because nothing is going to happen. He's not going to get any more lap time. There's a bit of contact there. Somebody around. Not quite sure who that was. Rob Wills, I think. So let's see Metcalf. How's he getting on? He's got no wing. Leon Evans. A 22.1 sector 1. Very tentatively on the throttle application, just feeding it in slowly. Oh, and look at the traffic again. He's going to have Mate ahead. These guys will need to do their best to get out of the way. Mate does well. And look, 3 cars here. Rob Mills, Mika, everybody trying to get out of the way. They're all squabbling for track position. And Dixie's going to complete the lap again. I don't know quite what he's doing. He's way down. Dixie 3/10 up sector 1. See how Shiv's getting on. He's in the middle sector. Just coming under the tunnel. Pick your braking very carefully as you fall downhill. Tuck it up nicely. Using all of the track there. That was really nice there for Shiv. His Travis slog now. He goes on to a 21.8. And back onto that pole position. But Shiv's 8/10 up. So a high 22 at the moment for Shiv. Shiv threatening that P3 position of Skarma. Can he find any more time through the last couple of corners? Through he goes. And I think it's going to be a 22 for Shiv. It's a 22.3. Goes into P3 on the grid. And Dixie now, it's a 22.5 for Dixie. He goes to P4. Now, was all the session time gone for him to get that double run in the last the good tyre at the end? That is the question. 7 laps. And Leon Evans is out of the session. looks like further down. How's Brown Dog getting on? Oh, he's going to shoot his brakes massively there. Let's see Yeri through sector 1. Oh, and he just nearly puts the car in the wall. He's still a 10th up sector 1, even with that big snap oversteer. Full wets for Keith. Keith trying to find some grip in the full wets. Chubby Slug goes through. Is he pushing through again on a second run in the tyre? And Matterman way down in that first run. Shiv, is he going to improve any? He does not. He's a couple of tenths down in that run. Dixie into the pit. Scarlet invalidates his run. Let's see Built on Matt. He is up. And he may find some positions here. Let's see as Built on comes to the line. So 23.5. He does get ahead of Laverick. Goes just behind Skarma up into the top 6 of the grid so far. Dixie back out, Built on Matt, going for another run. I don't think you compromise anybody, Jock, but sometimes it's the nature of the track. There is not much you can do at Monaco. You do your best to get off the racing line, but the racing line is practically the full circuit, especially in these modern cars, that there's really not much you can do. Rob Wills, he's just going to back out of that. It's a bit late on the brakes. So guys really need to be looking to get that double run in on these tyres at the end. If they're not out now, they're probably only getting out for one run. They may, just may, get a couple of laps in, but they need to be quick on that outlap, and of course without taking any liberties either. Skarma sector 1, how's he getting on? He's a couple of tenths down. See if there's anything improving. Matty's getting out his lap at the moment. Mick, how's Mick getting on? He's in sector 2, coming out the tunnel. Mick looking nice and tidy on swimming pool exit there. Oh, he had to double take there. I think he was worried about the rear tyre clipping the wall. Gets a really nice turn into the last corner. Brilliant application of power. To the line he goes. Can he find any time? He goes to P6. It's a 23.2 for Mick. Will he continue on? He has the energy on the board in the car to get himself up. Rob Wells is out. He's had enough. He's in the pits. He's not going to go again. It's P2 at best for Rob. How is Dixie getting on in sector 1? Showing me I'm way down. Yeah, I know, Shiv, it's stupid, man. Dixie nice and tidy through the last couple of corners, I think. Oh, Pedro, we've got Pedro closing the lap. Is he up any into the last corner? I thought it was his teammate ahead, but he was just opening up. I never realised Pedro was right with him. So can Pedro find any time? He does. He goes to a 23.8. If anything, just secures his starting position inside the top 10. But where is Dixie coming through the last couple of corners? He will just get the second run in, or will he? It's going to be very, very, very close. He does just. He was way down in that last lap, and he's missed his apex massively at turn 1. That's going to cost him loads of time. Let's go further back. Mick finds some time. He goes to a 22.8. His qualifying is over, and Mika just pips him. In the end, he goes to a 22.8 also, but just gets ahead. Mika now into P5. Let's see what other drivers are doing. Who is near the end of the lap? Brown Dog, I think he's the only man yet to set a lap time. He is. A pen for Rob as well. So does that mean Adam's going to be in the front row of the grid? And Brown Dog goes up to P19. Metcalf's of course out in the session. Pedro up on his second run, he's coming to the line. If Pedro can find a couple of tenths, he can maybe get back inside the top 10. He does. He goes to 23.5, finds 2.5 tenths. Speechy now to the line. Can he find any time? He does not. He doesn't improve. Dales Hunter doesn't improve either. He's way, way down. Dick Sayers, our last man, he's coming to the line now. And he does improve by only a tenth to a 22.4. And Matterman in the wet prevails yet again. Dixie will join him in the front row because Shiv and Rob both have the base grid penalties. But what could have been for maybe Adam, all that hard work he had done in the first runs, that getting the eye in on the tracks. Sometimes I never believe that's a good strategy, because when you build the laps like that, the good lap does come, and then you've spent your good lap. You need to try and hold that for the end of the session. And it just shows that it's true, because he done his best lap, I think, in a 6-lap old tyre, and then couldn't even get close to it in a brand new Inter. So, yeah, what could have been? But he's on the front row. He just needs to focus on his start, and they have some dry weather. So no more rain. I think a lot of the drivers will say thank God for that. I tend to say thank God for that as well, because in terms of racing, Monaco's tough enough at best, and you see very little overtaking opportunities, but in the rain it's pretty much non-existent. They just do not happen. And of course drivers now have a free choice of tyres, so let's go on to our race director and have a quick look. I think we'll see the majority of the guys. It is a no-brainer to start on the medium compound tyre, especially if you're inside the top 10. The reason for that being, if you start on that soft compound tyre, you need to pit before every day, and you end up in the traffic that's on the long run. You end up behind them. They cost you time because you just can't overtake at Monaco. It's not like a conventional track where you would usually get through the traffic that are just not to pit yet. You would get through them usually pretty easily. But if you don't do it at Monaco, you could end up in a whole world of bother, being stuck in traffic that's going much, much slower than the pace you've actually got in the car. And it just costs your strategy. So the best thing you can do at Monaco is go deep. Because if there's an early safety car, all you're going, which is very high at Monaco, all you're going to do is box for the medium anyway. The only thing you save yourself is the fact that you don't need to pit again, but then you've got 20 cars ahead. You know, at Monaco, I'd rather be on the same strategy and 3 cars ahead of me than pit early, knowing I don't need to pit again, but I've still got 20 cars, because so many things come into play when it comes to Monaco that it's too high a risk probability for me. But that's my personal opinion. The guys, of course, have their own calls to make and their own race to run. And now it's just about getting your head down in the race. Do not want to take any risks. Opportunities will always present themselves at Monaco, whether it be strategy or a mistake from a driver, or drivers having to pit because they need a wing change. That is very, very common. We'll see probably the most pit stops for some drivers today than they'll take in the rest of the season. Some people may even get to 4 or 5. It's just the nature of the track, and something everybody needs to accept. So everybody's been given plenty of time to prepare for their hot lap. And while they go in the out lap, I will quickly grab the restroom pre-race. Gents, bear with me. So, let me grab a quick drink as well. Get myself a little can of juice for the race chat. So, P0's Monaco Grand Prix, we are at round 6. Row 1 of the grid will be Chubby Slug and Dixie. Row 2 will be Mick and Mika. Mika and Mick, sorry. Row 3 will be Bilton and Rob Wells. Row 4, Skarma and Shiv. Row 5, Matty and Pedro. Row 6, Laverick and Speech. Row 7, Jock and Dale. Row 8, Leon and Keith. Row 9, Yerry and Rodders. And row 10, Brown Dog and Metcalf. We will go to the tyres. Pedro and Metcalf, the only guys in the hard compound. That is a big, bold call. Speechy and Bilton, Matt, both went to the soft compound. I don't think being inside the top 10 on the soft compound tyre is the right play. It could work out, but if the race goes in its normal kind of Monaco way, it's just not the strategy to be on, and that will become evident later on as we get deeper into the race. Bilton Matt takes that early stop. He's going to come out somewhere further back on the grid, and then you're caught in a load of traffic as we see a lot of checking up happening further back. What's going on here? I think a couple of drivers dropped it. Maybe Matty and Pedro had a bit of a moment. So the guys at the front are going to have a bit of a wait, because Metcalf is only just coming through some impel exit. Mattelman and Adam already onto their grid slot. So it'll be quite a wait for the guys here. Shiv says time to send it. Yep, you lick that stamp, son, and go get some. As we watch Metcalf fall into his grid slot, and then we will go to the front. He's on the hard compound tyre. But most important is the front row fight. It's all about the start. Mataman holds the inside line for turn 1. Adam on the outside. Can Mika and Mick get the jump? We have 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights. And P0's Monaco GP is away, and it seems to be a better initial launch from Adam, but Mataman's second phase is good, and now Adam gets bogged down and he goes right round the outside of Michelando. Michelando tried it, he seemed to have the better second phase, but Dixie manages to fend them off at the moment, and it's status quo at the moment. The top 10 remains unchanged. Let's go to position changed. Bilton Matt gets through, and Mick, of course, that's all coming time. Matty gets through and Shiv, but other than that, it's status quo. Mataman already got that gap out to 1 second. But of course, it's Monaco. You don't need to stress about a driver being very close, as we see Jock and Yerry jostle for position. Look at this, round the hairpin, side by side. They're being very, very bold there. Guys going very, very slowly and tentative, just trying to settle into the race. And I must say, from the P0 boys, it's been a very, very calm and collected start of the race. Adam being put under big pressure, although he's started to find his feet now and stretched out the gap to Mika. So now they just need to do their thing, as we see Pedro have a moment. Was he spun or did he hit the wall at the airpin? He drops down to P17, and the Monaco Blues start to hit the drivers. Chubby Slug with the fastest lap, 16.9. Let's go on board with our leader as we watch him storm up the hill. And we'll go with a lap with Matt on board to see how he is doing in his car on that medium compound tyre with the car filled up with fuel, a little bit heavier. As we watch the gaps further down the order. As I say, overtaking will be very scarce here today. So, do we have anybody fighting Pedro and Metcalf? Something happened to Metcalf. Is it a moment through the tunnel? Is he out? He's not out of the race. He has got wing damage, so he needs to be cautious there into the last sector, because that is a place where you can definitely pick up big damage and even retire the car on this. One thing I will know is the safety car is probably impossible. It's not going to come out today. It's pretty broken at Monaco. So that's something the guys need to bear in mind as well. And Matoman's going to pick up damage there. He's in the wall at the entrance of turn 2. And now, can Dixie strike? This changes the complex of the race massively. Dixie on a PB sector 1. And I'm pretty sure with that contact, Matoman would have picked up some kind of damage. Doesn't look like it on board on his car. And he hits the wall again. Mataman just needs to settle. He knows he can be better than this. He just needs to shake the webs away, put the one bad lap behind him, and just settle back into his rhythm. So is Chubby Slug going to pit? He is not, so no damage. Dixie will see that gap. It was 3 seconds down to 1.5. He's halved it. So pressure on Matthew. He just needs to get his head back in it. He's been in this position many times in this championship, so he knows what he's doing. He just needs to settle down. Rob Wills, Matty and Mick all having a bit of a tussle as well. Yeri up 7 positions. He's got himself inside the top 10 from P17 on the 4th lap. That's been an amazing start for Yeri. Shiv further back, closing in on Leon. Will we see Shiv make a move? We know Shiv's not scared of a big move. It's a track, really, if you want to get an overtake though, it's all about your exits. If you're not good on the exit, it's going to be very hard to mount any bit of a challenge. And even if you are good on the exit, you probably need your opponent ahead to have made a little bit of an error. Just missed his apex by a couple of feet to make your opportunity come just a bit easier. But Jock absolutely hunting the back of Yeri. Jock having a tremendous start. He needs to be careful there as he has a moment, and now Leon will sneak through. There's a bit of contact there. Leon will nearly end up in the wall. Shiv's got to be careful, and they're going to try and go side by side now, and Leon's going to end up in the wall. And I don't know if that was a bit adventurous from Jock, and look at Shiv. He's going to come to the inside line, and you do see racing often at Monaco, but there goes Shiv through the inside into turn 1. Shiv finding a couple of positions in one lap up to P11 and starting to recover their lost positions. Dixie now within DRS of Chubby Slug, as Chubby Slug had another moment. There's last week's winner getting on as well. Skarma down in P8 now. People were thinking, oh, and Dixie's picked up a time penalty in lap 5 of the race. Again, he needs to settle that down. No more warnings now. Just set your head down. If you're not going to chase P1, or you're pushing too hard and picking up warnings for P1, what you do need to do is secure P2. There's no point over pushing it and picking up 10 penalties. Matoman into the pits. So Adam just needs to get in a controlling phase of the race now. Matoman is about to get held behind a lot of traffic. Will he get out in front of this fight? The question is, can Mataman will go on board with Yeri? He's the leader of this queue. Mataman needs to be out in front of this fight. If not, he is in a whole world of pain, and I don't think he's going to get it because these 4 drivers are going to go through, and Mataman may even be under pressure from Keith on the exit here. Let's go to Keith, and Keith will also go through. So Mataman now in big problem, or Keith just gets through. Mataman's going to be in the better tyre. He needs to get out of there because Keith shuts it off. So Dixie gets in control in the lead of the race, and look at Shiv there looking at the inside of Yeri down in the turn 4. It's not going to come that time around. So Dixie now needs to settle. No more warnings. Needs to find a pace that's comfortable and just stay there. Pull away. The gap is going up. And focus on bridging the gap for the penalty. You just need to forget about Matt now because he's probably going to get caught up in the traffic. Unless something miraculous happens on Mataman that gets very bold, then he is stuck. Built on Matt. Let's look at this. He's all over the back of Mika. Oh, Mika Landos. He's out the session. What's happened there? No, I'm going to go to blue screen because I want to try and get Mika an invitation. Excuse the blue screen chat, but Mika is well in this fight, so I want to try and get him the invitation out as quickly as I can. And he's went completely offline. Has he had a full connection issue? Built on Matt actually picked up a penalty, so Adam is in a great position. Let's see that penalty. What was that for? It's a 3 seconds, so it's a track limit penalty. So Dixie now well in control of this race. It's a soft compound behind him, so he just needs to settle now. The gap is good. Run your race. Rob Wills though is going to sniff this opportunity in the championship, and he needs to pounce. P4 is good, but he'll see the penalties in a sniff distance. If he can get through and Mick, Rob Wills could put himself in a very good position to take control of the championship today. Because Mataman at the moment is not going to score any points. Mataman with the fastest lap, a 12.5. We got a yellow flag. Who's that? Is that Speechy just went round? Yes, it is. He's had a moment. I think he's tagged that back tyre on the exit out the tunnel. So Dixie will see that gap coming down, but he needs to not bother about that. The soft tyre's still in a zone where it is very fast. Remember, the soft tyre is good for 15 laps at Monaco, so got to bear that in mind. It's not going to, it doesn't really lose any performance for about 13 either. So again, you're in control, you're in first, you have a strategy, yellow flag sector 3. You just need to run your race, and Chubby Slug gets through there. And he's going to get involved in this fight with Laverick and Shiv. Now how bold is Matt going to... Oh, and Laverick, what's happened there? And that's a huge moment in this race. Mataman trying to come through. Laverick, for some reason, has just slammed on the brakes in the racing line, and he's doing it again. He's doing it again, and he's causing all sorts of mess here at the back of the grid. I don't know what's going on, and he's going to pull to the racing line. I think he was trying to let Matt through, but it's just not the track and the nature of the place to do it. And Mataman has been cost a whole load of time there. Wow, drama at Monaco for P0. We're not seeing the gap to build on in Adam, but it's coming down. That is to be expected, and of course Mick and that's getting pulled along a little bit with the little bit DRS you do get. So this race is coming back into play. So hopefully when Built on Matt crosses the line, we'll get to see a delta between him and Adam. There we go. Oh no, the gap's still 3 seconds, so That is what it was. That's fine. Adam's doing what he needs to do. But I can't feel like Mick and Rob at this moment feel like they're being held up a little bit. But as I have said, it's just the nature of the track. There is really not much that can be done. So this is the relevant battle. The Mick, Rob and built on Matt fight. Adam's starting to extend his gap again, so built on Matt's tyres, getting to that stage. Next lap or two, they're definitely on a kind of play enough performance now. He's definitely not going to be finding any time in speed. She is out, that's in the pits. He's had enough for the day. Monaco is not for every day. So we're a quarter of the way into the race, and Mick looking as close as he's ever been. But built on Matt getting DRS from the back marker, so he's been held out. Rob Wills can't get close enough either. Let's look at this. Chubby Slug and Shiv now. So Mataman needs to focus on his last corner exit. Shiv gets a good one as well. He's going to struggle, but Shiv down on the energy. But Mataman will not get through this lap around. And you see that nice and tidy line there from Mataman into turn 1. So nothing going to come the now for Chubby Slug. Let's watch this battle back up front. Bilton's Matt pit stop's not going to come up for a bit, and now the gap out to 5 seconds. But look at Rob Wills on Mick. But with Mick having the DRS, just cannot come. He cannot get the opportunity to really make a move. Chubby Slug all over the back of Shiv. Could we see a move here into turn 1? Is he going to send it? He's going to go to the outside. Oh, there'll be contact there, and Matoman sticking his nose in a daily and a dollar shot there. I think he was never going to be beside him. I think he had to just get out of that one. But Matoman's trying to recover a race, so I do understand why he's trying to get the move done. But maybe, just maybe there, it was a situation where he should have got out it. So that knocks Shiv only behind Matt, so Shiv somehow got the car turned round and only lost a few seconds to Mataman. That is really impressive stuff there for Shiv. Did he pick up any damage? That's the question. He has not at the moment. Dixie now got the gap out to 5.9 seconds. In fact, take that back, it's over 6. And there's going to be contact here into turn 1. Belt on Matt and Mick. He tried to go up the inside, and now Rob Wills is going to be very tentative. And now all hell is broke loose, and Belt on Matt, what's happened there? No, this has got to be a safety car. I'd be absolutely stunned if we do not get a safety car here, but they tend not to come. And oh, I don't know there what exactly happened. But I would love to see the onboard of that one. So more drama. Built on Matt out of the race. And I don't think you'll be too pleased. The gap now for Dixie, 7.5 seconds. Rob Wills, I think, picked up a time penalty for trying to get out of the way. Now Rob Wills needs to get on the charge. Mick now into the pits, he gets out of the way. He'll be able to box, he'll get a new wing. Yeah, fresh wing for Mick. Where will he filter out? I don't think he's going to lose it too bad. P8. He will get out in P8, so he can go to the end from there, of course. And now Matty into P3. It shows at Monaco what can happen if you keep your nose clean. And the guy stayed behind and stayed behind. But there has to come a time where a driver needs to try and force the move if they want to get the job done. It's just how you go about your business is very difficult at Monaco. I don't think anybody particularly maliciously done anything in vain there. Although maybe getting up the hill, there's something to be looked at there. But Chubby Slug, a couple of tenths behind Skarma, he is gaining. And there we go, Chubby Slug into the last corner. He gets the job done early. Oh, I think Skarma having a little wibble there. I'm not quite sure what was going on. We got a yellow flag sector 1, I think that is. Just a back marker letting some traffic go through. So Chubby Slug gets back on the charge, but of course he's going to have to take another pit stop because he went medium so far. And who's that in the wall? Metcalf out as well at the hairpin, so Metcalf is DNF'd. Second lap on that hard compound tyre. Again though, we won't get a safety car because the game is broken. So those guys with penalties will feel like it's a get out of jail free card that. Do we have another DNF here? A harsh round? Who's that? I think it's Rodders. He's tagged the rear tyre on the wall. I think that's put the car around. The gap tail leader now coming down. Well, of course, two guys out front, both have penalties. So if Rob wants to win this race, he needs to get it done on track. Dixie's going to be looking to go till about 24, 23, 24. Then he'll jump in, get onto the soft compound tyre. If he can go to about 25, even better. And onto that soft compound tyre, Rob will be looking to do about the same. And then it'll just be a soft tyre sprint to the end. Can Rob, of course, close the gap and then get the job done on track? Mick out of the session, and that, where is that? Let's see Jock coming through. It's at the exit, a swimming pool on. He's had a big incident there. He's facing the wrong way, and again, we still won't get a safety car because the game is absolutely broken. Can Mika get through? Mika's got to think now about Chubby Slug because he's a threat now, right? Mika is in this fight. I think Mataman's smartest play is the gap keeps closing till about 23. He pits early, undercuts, and just hangs on to track position to the couple of guys in front of him on the dead tyre for a lap. If he wants to recover 2 or 3 positions here, I think that's the way to do it. But Mataman will do Mataman things when it comes to strategy, so we'll see how it plays out. Of course, he can go much deeper if he really wants. But I don't think it's smart, because you're not going to overcut the guys. They're going to go quicker once they go on the soft compound tyre. You've got yourself back into this fight, so the best thing you can do now is pit with these guys and just stay in the fight. Oh, and Mika, there is a big moment in the middle of swimming pool there, and it didn't even faze him. He's just kept chumping away, and he's going to box now. So box is 16. That seems very early. Is this going to be a hard compound tyre for Mika? Another medium. So Mika committing to a two-stop strategy here. That's an interesting call. The gap at the lead now, though, down to 4.5 seconds. And Ferrari having a very, very good day in the office. So is Mika boxed early to cover off any potential undercut from Chubby Slug? Is that what we've seen here? But the question is, did Mika start on his medium compound tyre? Because he's going to have to pit again. Of course, you won't get a safety car here, so there's no point hoping for it. We've seen 3 big incidents where cars have retired right in the racing line, and there's been no safety car. It's broken at this game, so it's not this track. It's not going to come. So you just need to drive to the strategy. So this is where Mataman needs to think, because could you do 20 on the softs? I guess you could. They're big ask, and they'd be dead. But the undercut potential is massive. So many variations still to play here as we go into the closing phases of this race. Halfway. And I think our medium guys will be about 4 or 5 laps away from their pit stops. Rodders picks up a time penalty at the back of the grid there for multiple warnings. He's still doing a good job. The Haas boys hanging on in there. Yeah, he picks up another time penalty also for multiple warnings. Dicks out the last corner, gap 3 seconds as he closes off the 19th lap of the race, going on to lap 20. And Chubby Slug now within DRS of Matty. So Mataman's decision is going to come in the next few laps. I think if he gets stuck here, he'll need to make a tough call. If he cannot get through, I'd be going to 22 and then pitting. I'd be going for 16 laps on the soft compound tyre. I'd take the risk, knowing that my pace is enough to maybe even put Rob under pressure, maybe even the race victory because of the penalties, and then fight it out on the dead tyre. But at the moment, you're going to settle for a podium, and not even the podium if you can't get through Matty. So Shiv up to P5 also, but of course these guys get pissed off to come in. Mika right on the back of Shiv as well. You're going to see Matt do a big send down into the hairpin. It's not going to come this time, and that'll put him out of line a bit, and he'll pick up a time penalty for multiple warnings, so that puts Matt under big pressure now. So now I think he needs to play for track position. He's got to race for it. He has no choice. The only way you can keep somebody behind in a dead tyre is track position here, as Mika goes down the inside and Skarma out the hairpin. Matty using his energy. And Matty will defend that one off. Mataman not alongside enough. And Matty rightfully defending. He knows Matt needs to pit again. Plus, this is a podium chance. But look at our gap at the lead. Will we see some team orders come into play? Or does Adam know, look, it's Monaco. Even if Rob gets behind me, the chances of him getting the overtake done is very hard. Just because of the nature of the track. So I'm just going to hold station. I'm going to go to my pit stop knowing that if Rob does it, if Rob wants a track position, he could undercut, of course. But Adam can go, he has control of when he triggers the first pit stop, so he has that advantage in his favour. Chubby Slog a little further away this time around as well, and I think he's starting to get a bit desperate, so I think now Matoman needs to pit. He's got to pit. Go to the soft tyre now. Go for the undercut. Matty's going to box. He needs to understand that the driver in front of him is going to pit, so if he pits before him, the chance of her being in front of him when they come out again is very, very high, especially at Monaco. So Matoman needs to use this to his advantage. Gap now 0.8 of a second between our lead two drivers. And Rob's managed his pace beautifully and just methodically brought his car back into the picture at the front. But of course, getting your car to the front of the grid is one thing in Monaco. Getting through and into first position is a whole other kettle of fish. So what do they do? And this is it. This will be it to the end. Matty, 15 seconds, and the pace these guys are putting in at the front. So Chubby Slog has now triggered that pit stop. So it's game on for him and Matty. Matoman needs to be very good on the exit. And bear in mind, now he's going to have some track position, clear track position, and the medium guys are going to pit. So this for Ferrari is going to be a very good day in the office. This will be a big extension of the Constructors' Championship, a big one. Plus, Rob would take over the lead in our driver's title. Let me just double check that to be 100% sure, but I am pretty sure that is the case. So the gap is 9 points in the Drivers' Championship. But Dixie is going to hang on here, and look at that lovely apex there at Rob Wells. He never even doubted himself. He just rolled in, missed the barrier by millimetres. The battle for the lead will continue on. I think we're going to see these guys come into the pit stop any moment. So if Dixie don't pit here, I think we might see Rob Wells try jump him in the pits. But they will both continue on for another lap. Dixie misses his apex at the last corner by a little bit. And the Ferrari 1-2 continues. And it's just a good day for Ferrari. A Monegasque driver wins the first Grand Prix of our 2022 real F1 season. We come to Monaco at P0 and Ferrari drop yet another 1-2, or it looks set to be a Ferrari 1-2. Matty now into the pits, and would you look at the undercut that Matoman has got now. If he just took a little bit earlier, maybe a lap or so, what could have been? But he's 7.5 seconds ahead of Matty. Matty must have had a moment. Rob Wells now all over the back, his teammate, and Dixie, oh, you were very brave there. Crazy, crazy man. He's pushing the limits. So Dixie may be coming in for a pit stop, because he is pushing on. And he's not going to pit, so Rob's going to trigger the undercut. And I think this will be what gives up the win for Dixie. Gap to Shiv 22 seconds, so very, very comfortable for Rob. And Dixie, he will come back out in P2 still. They've been a class above the field today. Chubby Slug sets the fastest lap with a 12.5, gap 19.9, so Rob Wills will get into P1. And we'll see the undercuts already well in play. Rob Wills will be out well ahead of Dixie. In fact, I don't even think Dixie will have any DRS. But he will be coming into the pits. And I don't think Dixie will be too bothered, honestly. Like, the win was there, but he'll appreciate that Rob was very fast. He came up to him methodically as Dixie now falls into the pits. Careful not to get himself a penalty. And he will come out behind his teammate. But comfortably still in P2. Did they need to take a wing change there? Oh, Dixie's going to fall to P3 here and maybe even P4. He did. So I think Shiv's still to pit, or is he going to try and take these tyres to the end? I think that'll be a big ask. So Dixie will get back to the podium, but the thing is, Mika is closing back in. So Mika can put his podium under threat. So I wonder where Dixie picked up that damage, because he definitely had to take a wing change there. So Rob Wills now well comfortably in control of this race. He's got 12 laps to go, he just needs to keep it neat and tidy. And that makes it very different in the complex of the championship. Somehow Matoman will have managed to recover and still retain his lead. Ferrari will extend in the team's championship, of course. Fastest lap now for Robin, a 12.3 now. He's got some clean air. He's shown the pace he had in the car. Dixie all over the back of Shiv here. He'll go to the outside line and go all the way around the outside into turn one, but he goes too deep. And while they have picked up damage there, Shiv will need to accept that he's through just now. Was that damage? I do not know. I think somehow he's got away with that. I'm stunned. And look at this, Rob's actually pulling away from Matoman. Have we seen the tight turn in the championship? And we've got a yellow flag. Who's that? It's a Haas man. I think it could be Rodders having a bit of a moment. It's Rob Wills now at 12-0. And he is absolutely flying. It's a 13-0 for Matoman. So a whole second a lap quicker at the moment is Rob than Matoman. Rob absolutely putting the marker down today. So Mika now falling off the back of Dixie. So Dixie solidifying the P3. They can't catch Matoman and recover a P2. This is going to be the fight. Make it into the pits. He goes to the soft compound tyre. He will fall back down the order, and then Matty will get back into P4. It's been a very good day for Matty. Dixie now in the DRS on a chubby slug. So Adam, you see, keep the pressure on Matoman. You see there, he had a bit of a moment. I think he would have picked up a warning there, so he'll be close to another penalty. We've got a couple of pit stops further back in the grid. Jock goes into the pits, as does Pedro onto the soft compound tyre. They'll go to the end of the race. Dixie gets in the DRS range. Brown Dog picks up a time penalty for multiple warnings. And Dixie now stalking Matt. We're down to 8 laps to go. Rob Wills 9.6 ahead. He's in another zone at the moment. He's got some Charles Leclerc inspiration right there. And are we going to see Adam be released from Matoman? A bit of sportsmanship at play there. He sees Dixie is faster, and maybe Matoman just wants a bit of DRS resistance. Helps see his tyre out. The gap is good to Matty. He can still control this. The pace, he's driving faster than he has to actually drive at the moment, because he's still pulling the gap. So Matoman can just settle, see the car home. Damage limitation after being put on that opposing strategy. I think P3 is still, again, a very good result, considering he was way out it with that early pit stop. Brown Dog retires from the session. That's in the pits. He's had enough for the day. Where is the battle? We know Chubby Slug has let Dixie through. Let's go to this Leon and Keith fight further back. Well, we see Leon make a move on Keith further up the grid, to get himself further up the grid. Leon looking to salvage a point from the race. At any point in Monaco's a bloody good one and a hard fought one, although I think Jock in the box is going to put them both into the points now. And Pedro coming in on his soft compound tyre, and Pedro could recover P9 here. He's not had the strongest of races. Monaco, he'll say, never enjoys it. But if he could salvage a P8, get some points on the board, I think he'd be very happy. And what's happened here? Does Dixie get damage? If he's got damage and he doesn't need to pit here, 6 to go, I think you just see that out. You're going to give up too many positions if you box now, whereas you can hold your position if you stay in it. Dixie's fastest lap as well, only a couple of tenths off a leader. So that shows what kind of pace he's had. Ferrari boy's been out and out, the absolute quickest today by a good few tenths in terms of race pace. Yellow flag, sector 3. Something between Mika and Dale there. I think Dale's just went a bit deep. So Pedro now on the back of Keith. Let's see this. Is he going to stick his nose in? Not here. It's not the place to do it. Pedro now on the energy. He'll tuck into that slipstream of Keith. He'll go to the inside line. And Keith will try and fight him back. They'll go on a drag up the hill, but Pedro gets himself into P9. Nice move there down the inside into turn 1. Using that better grip in the soft compound tyre, gets himself back into the points. And Chubby Slug now managed to open that gap to Dixie. He's out to 2.5, but Dixie's main threat is Matty, but the gap more than enough, 9.4 seconds, 4 laps to go. Just needs to bring home that podium. On board with the leader though, and since Mataman had that moment, he's looked absolutely faultless. Kept his nose clean, slowly closed that gap up to Dixie. And then of course triggered that undercut, which gave him the track position quite comfortably, because Dixie there had to take some wing change. And then once he got the lead of the race, he just opened and opened and opened the gap. It's been a very, very strong display from Rob Wills today. And I think out and out, thoroughly deserved. I think Mataman would even have struggled to hold him back today. Of course, Mataman did have that track position early in the pole, but Monaco makes for interesting races. And what unfolded this evening was certainly one of them. And Rob will close the gap to 4 points in the championship, so within striking distance for sure. And the championship starts to liven up. Rob Wills will come round to bring us on to just a couple to go as he heads up to lap Skarma. That shows the pace of him today, all the way up to P7 being lapped. And in terms of pit stops, there's not really many drivers being forced onto many stops. They've had a good job. Yerry there on 7. Brown Dog leaves the session. He's had enough for the day. I think he did retire early. That's a nice commitment to see him continuing on watching. Shiv now on the back of Matty. Oh, and Shiv's managed to bait Maya and fire in the car deep there. Now send it down the inside into the hairpin, and this is where it gets very tricky. And that's good stuff there between the boys. Shiv will hold it on the outside, but he has to get out of there. Matty cuts that line off, says not today, sir. And that was brilliant there between Matty and Shiv. You can't genuinely go racing there, and two cars going side by side in the hairpin is difficult, but they done well to make it work there. Shiv going for a big send in the brakes. Down out the tunnel, he's not going to get it here, but look at the switchback move. He goes for it in traction, he'll get alongside Matty, and now they'll go side by side. And Matty does leave the space, but Shiv just has to get out at this time around. He'll wait for the DRS, so will we see something come a bit earlier here? He again looks to the inside line, it's not going to come. Needs to just bide his time here. Tucks back in behind Matty, DRS open. He gets on that energy, and can he make anything move into turn 1? He goes to the inside line and through he goes on that inside line. He finally gets the job done. 2 laps to go, the gap to Adam 8.6, and Adam will now feel even more comfortable the fact that he's got a penalty buffer between himself and Matty. I think that very much secures that podium now for Adam. And Mika Lando's got himself involved in this battle a little bit as well. He'll look at this and think, oh, P4 on offer for me today if I can get through Matty. And look at Mika here, is he going for the move on Matty? He's not going to get it this time around. He'll go for the exit, straight on that energy, trying to pounce. You'll see that red light flashing, it shows him that Matty is low on the energy, so Mika just needs to play it safe, get the exit on the last corner, and you should get through into turn 1. Matty though gets a good exit off the last corner there, so I don't think Mika will be able to get through this lap. And all the way, the gap now almost, Shiv has almost cleared the penalty gap, so Mika is losing grips at P4 here, as is Matty. Even with the penalties as we're on at the last lap of the race. We'll go on board with the leader though as he comes into the final sector for the last time. And he will win the race on Matoman's expense, but take nothing away from the pace he has shown thereafter. Once he got into the lead of this race, he never looked back as he rounds the last corner and heads to the line. And the man in red, it's Rob with a win at Monaco. Nearly 20-second gap. Matoman recovered strong from a very difficult first stint. A race of many tales for Matoman, but he's still going to retain his championship lead. It's damage limitation. He'll come home to see it P2. Dixie also out the last corner. He started on the second row of the grid. It will be P3's best result of the season. He finishes on the podium. Shiv recovers to P4 after a race of incidents. Mika will get P5. He eventually got through and Matty, but could not get the penalty gap to Shiv. Matty out of fuel. It's Matty's out of fuel. But the gap is more than enough. He will be safely in P6. It's Skarma 7, Laverick 8, Pedro 9, Keith 10, Jock P11, Leon Evans 12, Dale Oklahoma 13, Rodders 14, and Yeri P15. So let's get the guys in for a chat. We just need to add Chubby Slug and Robbos, because Dixie is already in the chat. Ah, he's offline, because he's a balloon. So we'll get our podium guys in for a chat. So good evening, Adam. Bear with me 1 second, please, and then we will get to our interviews. Hello, is everybody here? Are we all here?
I was about to start entertaining with singing,
yes.
but you got back.
Rob, Matt and Adam. Right, we'll go 3-1. Adam, P3 in the race.
Yeah.
Not quite sure what happened. You look very much in control, of course. I say in control. Rob was just methodically and slowly closing that gap on the first stint.
I had floor damage.
Oh.
I'm looking at the gap coming down, and I was in control, and I'm like, okay, Rob might get into me, but he won't be getting in that quick. Pops up floor damage. Obviously, I had wing damage as well that I didn't realise when I boxed. But ultimately, my idea was to stay out, let Rob box first, get the undercut as a teammate. He's fighting for a championship, and he gets out in front, which worked. But then, obviously, the last 7, 8 laps, whatever, no wing, trying to drive around Monaco.
Which is never nice.
No, it wasn't.
Still,
but
P3.
Matt let me through to get. Yeah, Matt let me through at one point to chase Rob down, but then I let him back through and I'd done a bit of pinball. But it was a crack. Love it.
So P3, best result of the season.
Yes.
Happy?
Should have been a win. I am happy. No, I am happy. I love a bit of Monaco. Obviously a bit lucky in quali with Rob and Chiv getting grid penalties, but I'll take it. I enjoyed it. Even Matt had his issue and he had to box, so that freed it up. But look, Ferrari 1-3. What can we say? Constructors, here we come.
Well, that's it. That was the closing question. You put a big lead in the Constructors' Championship now.
Yeah, that was my fault as Rob was chasing me down, was to let Rob get in front of me, but where it doesn't jeopardise me. So
yeah.
That was hoping that he'd take the hint and get into the pits before me, which he did. So, happy days.
Yeah, well, very well done, Adam. A very well driven
Thank you,
P3, considering the damage you had in the car on the last 15 laps or whatever. So good stuff.
Thank you.
Mato man.
Yes.
A race of a tough first stint, I guess we could say.
Yes, it was interesting.
I think it was just 3 laps, really, that you just... I know from personal experience what Monaco is like, and if you just let that concentration go, even 5% for 1 or 2 laps, it's enough to put you way out the running. And of course, inflict that damage, which makes you take that early pit stop.
Yes.
From there, you're making moves, and we've got to ask about the elephant in the room. You know the incident I'm going to speak about.
Yes, I know exactly what one.
Into turn 1 with Shiv.
Yeah, that was a. I'm not sure what to think about it because I'm trying to come around that outside. Ultimately, the barrier's coming towards me as well. I had to make one choice. I had to make one choice out of 2: hit the barrier or turn to me right, and it's kind of just sent Chiv into a spin. Again, I don't know what to think about the situation. I'm going to look at it back and see what's what with it. Yeah, that was kind of the point where I thought I sort of fucked up there, maybe. But
yep.
We'll see what goes on. I'll have a look at it and I'll send it in.
That aside, though, you still recovered well from the early damage and got yourself back into a position where you could really start to put a fight on.
From that point on, it's kind of just you had to just put balls to the wall, just put it in every single lap, just going for it.
Yeah.
And I had to, especially with them softs. By the end of the race, I think my softs were on about 75%.
Yeah, of course, I was willing you on. You were stuck with a tough choice in that kind of second medium stint because you were at a point where you were behind Matty but faster. But
yeah,
Matty was very hard to clear. So what do? Do you just sit there and lose time, or do you trigger that undercut knowing that if you can grab any form of track position and you are holding onto a tyre in the last couple of laps, if there's a track in the calendar you want that to be, it's Monaco.
Yeah.
Was that your thinking there?
It was. I couldn't get past him. I thought, okay, I know with the soft tyre, the undercut, I'll get quite a bit of time. The time I got, I didn't expect to have. Was about that 8 seconds. I didn't expect to have that.
Huge.
So yeah, as soon as I saw that, I thought, right, okay, I've still got to push here. I've got to absolutely just go for it. And I did. and ultimately got me to where I went, where I got P2. So unfortunately, Adam had the damage. He should have had that P2. He was quick, but it was a good race for everyone. It was a good race.
Just in love with Monaco,
Recovery.
Matthew.
Very well done. I think that's good damage limitations. You know, you were staring at a point with 10 laps to go where you were going to lose the lead of your championship to recovering the gap to still be 4 points in terms of lead for yourself going into next week. So
Yeah.
I think a good day in the office considering.
Oh yeah, Monaco ain't exactly one of my strong point tracks, but I believe it's Baku next week. No, I'm wrong, and that's tomorrow.
You're wrong.
Canada.
Oh, that's the one, Canada. Oh, great.
So that means Matthew's going to have 30 seconds in penalties and be at the back.
When's Matt right?
But anyway, good effort, Matthew. P2,
Thank you.
damage limitation, and you retain the lead of your championship, so that's the main thing.
That's it, mate. Thank you.
Rob?
Good evening.
Very, very, very good day in the office today, sir. You are smooth, methodical, even in your that first stint. Once you had the gap to Adam, you never over pushed anything. You seen the gap was coming in, you just let it come in. And then of course you trigger that undercut, which at Monaco is always going to give you the track position as long as you do it round about the time it needs to be done. And then once you were out in that soft tyre, you just didn't look back, mate. Your pace was phenomenal.
I enjoyed that. I thought I was in no man's land after qualifying when I got that silly penalty for crashing at Lowe's Airpin.
Yeah.
First stint, I was just stuck completely. I could see Matt Minimap just disappearing at one point, but then Adam kind of pulled him back in. But I was stuck behind Mick and Bilton, and we were just going nowhere because there's nothing you can do. You just sat in a DRS, well, it's in a DRS train around there. It's just a slow-moving train of doing nothing.
Yep.
There was then an incident, I shall call it for now, ahead of me, which just gave me clear track, and it was just like, right, just go. But I got into a really nice rhythm of not using ERS, not pushing, and just driving the car. And kind of I was never close to being on the edge. I didn't try and push any lap, because I just thought if I push, I'm just going to hit a wall and be dead. So I just drove. And Adam, I didn't realise he had damage, or I could see that were coming down. And I thought, is he going to move? And then I could signal to him that I'd kind of let him back at the end for letting me through now, was what was going through my head. I thought, if he moves now, we're on for a 1-2, I'll give it him back at the end, because he's let me through now. But I thought, okay, he's not doing, so I thought I've got to undercut him, so I could see Mataman coming at a rapid rate of knots behind me. So I thought, I have to box now, so if I leave it another lap, he jumps both of us. So that's the reason I boxed when I did, because otherwise I would have done another probably 3 laps just to make sure it's offset a bit at the end.
Yeah.
Lucky you did box when you did.
Yeah, because otherwise we'd have come out both behind me.
Yeah, I tried to send you smoke signals and everything, mate, but it just wasn't working. I was going to go to like 28 because that's what Jeff was telling me to do, but I thought I'm just going to wait until you get the hint to go in, because you will get the undercut. I'm listening to the stream and I'm hearing the undercut. I think that's the best way to get you through, when you can then drive off, or I can just sit behind you. And it worked. Obviously, I got my damage in the end, but I still get a podium. But you were phenomenal, Rob. I mean, damage aside, you probably would have got me anyway. So, it is what it is. Ferrari are the best.
It was a very good race, actually, for us in general.
It was enjoyable. It really
It was enjoyable. Mataman did usual things and crashed and broke his wing or something, and just kind of let us have it.
On as well.
Yeah, and today you were just out and out the quicker guy on track, Rob, because Mataman had some opportunity, a clear track to set the fastest lap, but you just seemed to hold a few tenths on every day, especially in that soft stint, which just made you, at a track like Monaco, I think when you're comfortable and 3 tenths quicker than people, it's just, you're never going to get caught, right? Because they end up over pushing, and when you over push at a track like that, they get damage, and it never works well.
Yeah, it was good today. I never enjoyed Monaco, but I actually enjoyed that because it felt comfortable.
It was a faultless display.
Thank you.
You're very welcome, sir. Very, very well done on the race victory, Rob.
And
Well
great
done.
for the constructors.
Oh yes, of course. You just opened that gap up massively. It was pretty close getting into tonight, but no longer it will be. I think this may have like over a 20-point advantage now, which is big because I think you run conventional points, Rob, right?
No, we run very similar to OTL, so it's 25 for a 30 for a win, 25 per second.
Oh, so still the 5-point swing.
Yes.
Aye, so I think you'll have that gap way out then. So on that note, it was actually a very good night. Some incidents that I'm sure will cause controversy, but I think in a whole there was a lot of good racing tonight. I've genuinely seen some good wheel-to-wheel racing through the hairpin and through Turn 1. And I think that pays dividends. I've said it every Sunday about the quality of racing in P0. Oh, and one more thing before we go, driver of the day. This is clear as day. It would have been Rob. Or it is Rob. Again.
Very upset of you now.
In a league of his own, once he got into that soft compound tyre, there was not a driver on the grid that was going to touch him. And that's the most dominant I have seen him so far. So, yeah, for that reason, it would have been Rob. And on that note, P0 will be back next Sunday, as Rob said, with Canada, and OTL will be live tomorrow for Baku. We will see you then.